and welcome to You Can't Scare Me, a Goosebumps podcast. I'm here in a really chilly graveyard. Oh, it's fall and the leaves are on the ground, and I'm here with my best buds, Rachel and Mario. And wait, this gravestone says Mario. And you're dead?
That's right, Bob. It's me, the cool ghoul who's everybody's pal. It's Mario. I'm dead.
And this gravestone, it says Rachel, and you died last year?
Yup, I'm dead.
Oh my God, I'm so scared. I almost want to go to a new house that I inherited.
This is good.
This is great. I'm
This
loving
is
this.
strong stuff.
Hey everybody, welcome to our first inaugural episode. We are going to talk about Welcome to Dead House, the first
Installment
of Goosebumps. Now, we'll go around the horn and have everybody sort of introduce themselves and their experience, their history with Goosebumps. So let's go ahead and start with Rachel.
It's not a very impressive one. I had the Goosebumps books because my cousin had them, and my grandmother just loved to donate things that my cousin was tired of to us. So I had a pile of, I think, maybe like 10 or 15 lying around that I was the only person reading in my family. So if I wasn't reading them, no one was, and no one was reading them. I read one, but I don't remember anything about it. I don't remember which one I read. And I just remember being creeped out by the covers and a description that I did read of R.L. Stine where it said that some goblin would whisper in his ear and give him ideas, and that creeped me out because I thought, oh my God, is that real? And if so, like, just all these implications of like, why is this happening? Why are they letting it? Why are people? I was very gullible and paranoid as a kid. Now that I look back,
Why are we okay with this? Why is this acceptable?
I was like, why are adults like this? Anyway,
That is a running theme in Goosebumps.
Why are adults do
like
this?
I read one book and I was like, that's it? And then I went back to reading historical romances. And that's my history with Goosebumps books.
Beautiful. Mario, what is your history with Goosebumps?
So, okay, I can't pinpoint exactly where it begins because I think there's some overlap. So at the time that I started reading Goosebumps, I think it was right around the time that The Haunted Mask got adapted for TV. Because I recall watching The Haunted Mask on VHS at my godmother's house and absolutely losing my shit, like hiding behind a couch, afraid of the masks, that they would come out of the TV and possess me.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's interesting. I was scared in a very similar way. When we get to that book, I'll talk more about it, but
it's effective.
I never put on a mask when I went to a store because I was afraid that would happen, that it would get stuck and I'd be like, I can't do anything.
So after that, I think was about the time that Goosebumps Mania took off. I'm sure there were multiple periods of Goosebumps Mania.
Yes.
For people of different ages. Because this started in 1992, so that's way before I was reading it. Then when I was in second grade, I think this is around the same time, Goosebumps became really popular, and all of the school activities that we participated in, pizza lunches or free cake or whatever, like you do in grade school, were provided to us by a mysterious figure named Goosebumps.
That's so cool.
And signed Goosebumps, because I don't think parents understood exactly what Goosebumps was.
They never do. They never understand
trends. An unnoticed advertising campaign going on, right?
Well,
it was really underground, yes.
So, Goosebumps is published by Scholastic, so...
let me tell you, it definitely upped the sales. The Scholastic Book Club orders. Let me tell you.
You remember the Scholastic fair when it was you ordering all those? Oh man, when they came in, that was how I got
among the greatest periods of time in my life were the Scholastic Book Club fairs.
Even seeing that icon, their logo, kind of hit something in my brain that's just I remember that. That was nice.
I mean, parent-teacher conferences, bad, but the Scholastic Book Fair, amazing. So you went from feeling bad to feeling great when you bought how to draw manga.
Oh my god, the cover of that is it's scarier than any Goosebumps cover. So yeah, I'm my history, and I am Bob. If I did not tell everybody that, yeah, my history was basically like I hopped on pretty early. Like my first Goosebumps book was Stay Out of the Basement, and that's the next episode. That's the one we're doing next. So that's number 2. In the series. And for me, it was like, yeah, Scholastic, all those memories are fantastic. But I started getting hooked on it when, purely because, okay, I have a theory. I'll go into a little bit more of the history and stuff, but I have a theory, and part of it and it's all about why Goosebumps is so popular, or how it got so popular. And my theory is this. One, it's because the books are super short. They're all like, you picking one up now, like clearly we're all bigger physically, but going and actually grabbing one of the Goosebumps books, you realize just how small they are, how thin they are. There's just like, they're so readable. They're so short. They're so, for the most part, succinct. And the other thing is the wonderful cover art by Tim Jacobus. I forget how to pronounce it. Jacobus.
A wizard named Tim Jacobus.
So Jacobus's art is so wonderful, and it adds this effect to the whole series, and that is enhanced by another aspect of the books, which is why I got into them. The collectible nature of them. I view these books as trading cards. Like, there are even some books that we may talk about later that have holographic covers. And so the thing for me, why I got hooked on them, is the collectible nature of them. And this is the thing I noticed, that when Rachel and I went to McKay's to look for some used books to see if we could find the original ones. And I turned one on its spine and I saw numbered.
Oh yeah.
So that, like, the actual like number of the book in the series, I think that's why.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's very, very collectible and very.
I think
it got popular.
There's no doubt that that's true, because if you look now at the way that Goosebumps is being sold, and this is not an ad, but the like retro tin thing.
Yes.
Is such a wild idea for books. Like, for trading cards, that makes sense, but for books, I've never thought about that. But then I got it open, and I was like, whoa, there's 5 Goosebumps books in here. I've got to buy the rest of them.
Exactly. And the other thing about it is, if I looked at those two, I don't think that they're they're listed in order. I think it's like a random hodgepodge. Yeah. So that's a thing that, like, trading cards do, where they give you like a box and it's not all of them, but it's some of them. You got to get all the rest of the boxes in order to get all of the whole collection. And yeah, there was that. And then there's also, it's just a whole thing. So anyway, I got on early. I actually, around issue, I forget which one it was. It was like, I think it was in the mid 10s, like 15-ish, where they started doing the Goosebumps fan club. And I remember one of my favorite toys when I was a kid was the Slappy, the kind of mascot now, who, you know, we'll talk about that too. The true mascot's Curly. Real Goosebumps heads know that Curly is the main
serious
mascot.
heads. Listen,
he pointed at me, but I'm clearly not a Goosebumps head.
That's the actual name of the fan.
Listen, don't talk to me unless you appreciate what Curly did for the Goosebumps. Curly walked so that Slappy could fly.
But yeah, there was an awesome wristwatch. It wasn't a watch. It wasn't a non-functional watch, but it was a holographic picture of the cover of Night of the Living Dummy, which was Slappy. And it was the most amazing thing, and I lost it, and oh well. But yeah, no, like I have very fond memories of getting made fun of in middle school for having nothing but Goosebumps related, like binders. I had a Goosebumps backpack. I had the wristwatch thing that wasn't actually a watch.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, I got made fun of so hard I eventually stopped wearing that to school.
This reminds me that I remembered this morning that I bought a Goosebumps sound effects machine.
What?
There was one that came out. It had curly on it. That's important.
That's very
But
important.
like, it just played goosebump sounds like a wolf howling or someone laughing sinisterly.
I think I remember this. Sound effects boards were actually a thing. I remember McDonald's doing one for Ghostbusters too.
What?
Sound effects boards were like a thing, like physical sound effects, like noisemakers and stuff. They were a thing back in like the 90s.
Real 90s kids remember the sound effects boards.
I don't know. I'm a 90s kid. I don't remember that. I was also poor.
Oh.
I literally got toys out of a dumpster. That's a whole nother thing.
That's a whole different story.
we'll talk about that too. It sounds like you lived at a dead house.
Hey kids, you know what's really scary? Poverty.
Oh man, if R.L. Stine actually had like the social commentary, that would be a whole other thing. But yeah, so let's go into our favorite author of the day, Robert Lawrence Stine, aka, and this is apparently true, it's right on the first line in his wiki, his sometimes known as Jovial Bob Stine.
Do you think that they were having a little fun because of how completely placid and unemotional R.L. Stine, I'm sorry, Jovial Bob, appears
Thank you for correcting yourself.
in every single video he's ever been in?
He is, I mean, we'll get to it because he has an intro for, I think, well, obviously he doesn't have an intro. Well, actually he does, like a meet the author in the book, but you hear him in the audiobook and on the TV version of Welcome to Dead House, which we will talk about eventually after we get through some initial stuff. But yeah, he is, if you look at a picture of R.L. Stine, Jovial Bob Stine, he looks like he thinks you're an idiot. And he's just like,
he knows you're an idiot. He doesn't.
Yeah,
think
exactly.
He knows.
And he's just like, kind of, the way that he talks is like, I don't fucking care.
Hello,
I don't
I'm
care
Stine.
about anything. Maybe that's the secret to being jovial, is just not giving a fuck. But yeah, apparently, Jovial Bob Stine, he got that name when he created a humor magazine called Bananas, which was written for teenagers and was also published by Scholastic.
I was about to say, I remember that.
Do you?
I do. I remember that. I could never afford anything from Scholastic, so I never got anything. But I do remember getting all the little newsletters wanting you to buy stuff.
I have no recollection of Bananas.
The main thing I want to touch on is that something I found in Jovial Bob Stine's history.
Thank you.
It's gonna be rough.
It's gonna be rough.
It's gonna be hard before we fall into this. episode 61, it's gonna be nonstop Jovial Bob, and you know that.
It's just gonna be, we might even have a different nickname for him, because he does have another pen name that he went by, Eric Affaby. So
What?
yeah, I don't know. We'll figure
That is
that
like a
out
little
later.
Stephen King episode.
Yeah, basically. So the thing that I really wanted to mention, because it's fucking amazing to me, is that I had no idea that Jovial Bob Stine was the co-creator and head writer of Eureka's Castle on Nickelodeon.
Yes.
I had no idea. I loved Eureka's Castle.
I did too.
Yeah.
It's no stretch to say that R.L. Stine has given me, I would say he was a formative influence on my life. Like,
Yeah, same. Like, I think Jovial Bob is the reason why I'm so into horror and stuff. For real. Like, I think the way that he wrote stuff got me, like, in a way, kind of comfortable with the idea of death and like horror and being freaked out by stuff, and actually finding it entertaining.
yeah, because he does not hold your hand.
No.
Like, people fucking die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it. We actually need to add a trigger warning to this episode. If you, so we'll talk about it right now. If you are upset by animal death, like, yeah, you might want to turn this off, because that's a pretty major thing that's going to happen in the book. So not the reason why I said in the book, the way I inflected
It's
it.
because those hacks at Fox Kids
Those motherfuckers.
destroyed the beautiful work of Jovial Bob Stine.
Well,
Jovial Bob's true intentions have been utterly destroyed.
the death is off page, and also
Yes.
the dog is, well, I mean,
We'll get there.
We'll get into
We'll
it.
get there.
Yeah,
that's
I know
not
what you're
on
saying.
page.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's comfortable.
Yes, it's cozy, like a cozy murder mystery.
Yeah, right. All right. So with that, let's go ahead and talk about the book that we're all here. The start of it all.
Should we start like straight off with the question that is going to be on everyone's minds every time they look at this book, which is, what did Tim Jacobus think this book was about when he made it? That cover. Because, as a fun fact, he didn't know what most of the Goosebumps books were about when he drew these.
Yeah, he only had like the blurb at the time, like to go off of, if I remember correctly.
I mean, I think it's not hard to figure this one out because, I mean, spooky house, got it, check.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a great spooky house. The perspective in this cover is so good.
Oh yeah, we should
Yeah.
probably describe it. Do you want to describe it?
Sure. It's a cool blue tone. A nice spooky night. And you are like looking up at this looming home, which is just close enough to a home you might see in your own neighborhood. That I like that a lot.
It's kind of the typical haunted house
In
the neighborhood.
It looks like a neighborhood haunted house, but it's like looming over you. The door is precariously open to reveal a orange glow, and in one of the windows is a mysterious figure that looks like a werewolf.
Yeah, he's got that kind of like hunched over, hands kind of unfurled in a weird way, kind of look to him. But yeah, this cover, all of Jacobus's like art is fantastic, and this is really just playing with the blue and the really bright orange of the cover.
It's such a mood. It's got such a mood to it.
Really, like no wonder they chose. No wonder Scholastic chose Jacobus to like do all of the covers after this, because that's an interesting tidbit. If you didn't know, Scholastic actually sent out basically to another artist they used and to Tim Jacobus. Jacobus, I keep saying his name in completely different ways, but I keep wanting to say Jacobus. But they sent out like the covers for the first two Goosebumps books. So the next Goosebumps book that we're going to talk about is drawn by a completely different person, but Scholastic decided that they liked Jacobus's work better and went with him for the rest of the Goosebumps run. So next segment, we're actually going to have a segment here, is who is going to do a 3-sentence summary to recap the events of Welcome to Dead House. All right, do we want to, is anyone itching to do it? That's a no.
I mean, I was the one stepping on anybody's toes. I think
true.
in
Should
fairness,
I flip a coin?
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to... Actually, this is better. I'm going to think of a number from 1 to 10.
Okay.
Okay, Mario, go.
9.
Rachel?
Oh, 1.
Mario, he's closer. It was 7.
Okay.
All right. Fun fact: 9 was my student number in grade school. So
You had a student number?
yeah, we were numbered.
Oh, weird.
And it was also only 1 digit?
No. Well, I mean, my name was early enough in the alphabet that I got single digits.
I feel it.
It was like per class. So it was like 1 through 31 or whatever.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay, so plot of Welcome to Dead House. All right, let's see if I can do this.
In 3 sentences.
3 sentences. All right. I'm going to use some semicolons in here.
Go for it.
So Amanda and Josh are 12 and 11, and they are moving to a new town with their parents, the town of Dark Falls. Dark Falls is kind of a shithole. And Josh and Amanda aren't happy about it. Well, we'll get into that. Their home is spooky and the town is spooky, and I guess we'll fast forward through the synopsis very quickly. Spooky events happen. Amanda is gaslit by literally everyone, including herself. The children are weird, and their dog runs away. Their dog does not survive this. Subsequently, in pursuing their dog, they discovered that the whole town is dead. They're fucking dead. They're all dead. Hijinks ensue. Period.
Like if you're gonna do this like more, I feel like hijinks ensue is going to be your like moniker. It's gonna be the thing.
Is that a fair synopsis? Should I spoil it?
No.
We'll talk about it. But yeah, no, that was good.
That was good.
All right, so let's get into it. What did we all think of Welcome to Dead House?
I mean, I just actually finished it this morning.
Rachel wanted to wait until the last second.
I get that.
Bob, I did because I knew I was going to forget.
Mm-hmm.
Bob was still asleep, but for the first time ever, I said, "What?" like that, and I meant it.
Out loud.
And, yes, and I started laughing at myself, and that's a scene that comes like later on. But I guess for a children's book, I was not expecting it to, and of course it would have to. And it's like to cut to the chase, I thought it was great and it was quick. It felt like eating like something a little bit better than fast food. Right.
I agree.
I stopped at Panera real quick, got me a sandwich. I don't feel so bad.
We are sponsored by Panera, by the way. My thoughts on it were, I think I mentioned this to Mario like on Discord as soon as I like finished. The first thing that I thought was Goosebumps is simultaneously better and worse than I remember. Like there are elements of this where I was just like rolling my eyes like, oh, okay. Like we'll talk about the fake out jump scares, which are numerous, and but also there's some stuff that happens toward the end where I legitimately forgot about this stuff and some of the plot twists and some of the descriptors, some of the things that happen in this are fucking rad. Like
I agree.
Where I have it in my notes, it's like. I say this is, we're going to spoil everything, but I have in my notes, yo, Ray's melting scene kicks ass.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I was like referring to. That's when I was like, what?
I also wrote in my notes that scene, good. This fucking rules.
Dude, oh man. And then there's, we'll get to it. Mario, what'd you think?
So I watched Welcome to Dead House, the TV version, in college.
Oh.
Like on a whim. I don't remember why I was doing it. I think it just was on YouTube and I was like, oh, cool, I'll watch it. And so I had some more recent recollections of it, but like the thing is, the TV version is so different from the text. Yeah. Reading it was wild because I was like, I forgot that Goosebumps went this hard. Like yeah. I had no recollection that there would be sequences like Ray having his whole face fucking melt off and his eyes roll out of his skull and then his head explode, which is incredible. Like
it's fantastic. Like the descriptors of eyes rolling out of people's skulls in this book they are amazing. Like I completely forgot that this stuff happened in this book. But all right, let's cut to the chase.
I'm going to make a note here because I'm interested in pursuing this train of thought in later issues of Goosebumps. Are all the protagonists in Goosebumps books age 12 and 11? Because I have a prediction that they might be.
I was wondering the same thing because you find out the age of some of the other children and they're like Ray is 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I want to say one of the other, like the girl, like Kathy, I thought
Karen?
they had her age and she's like 12.
12, yeah.
Is it? And I'm just like, oh, everyone's 11 and 12.
I have a theory that it's like, I think 11 and 12 is the exact target audience for Goosebumps age range.
I would agree. Yeah. Yes.
Old enough to be okay with some spooky stuff and also to read a 163-page book, but also not a teen yet. Because if you're a teen, you're going to read Fear Street. You're going to move to Fear Street because they talk about
that's what
dating and boys
that want to kill you too, and a lot of the fucking time.
Yeah, that your boyfriend is a serial killer and maybe a sexual deviant.
He's not. Yeah.
Wow.
He's hot and he's trying to kill me.
Maybe that's why I got made fun of so hard because I was reading Goosebumps, the baby horror series instead of Fear Street.
When I was 16, I was opening up a cool Goosebumps book, getting in my car.
You're reading a book with main characters that are aged 12 and 11? Get out of here. You fucking nerd.
You're reading Jovial Bob Stein? Get out of here.
But yeah, Welcome to Dead House starts basically with like, it starts from a very understandable place, because anyone who's a kid and who's moved like understands where Amanda and Josh are coming from.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Having never moved in my life, I've only been sedentary forever. I was like, man, this is extremely #relatable content. It's like, I feel like if Goosebumps books are at their best, probably meant to be like somewhat relatable, metaphorical things for things that preteens go through, right? I'm gonna assume My Hairiest Adventure is a puberty one. This is some pretty relatable moving content, you know? It's like, weird place, stuff is weird, I'm not comfortable there, my friends are far away.
Jovial Bob does a really good job at the beginning of this, like instilling this idea that like it's not just moving that is like the scary thing or the unknown. It's the people that are involved. It's the faith that you've got to have in the community that you're going to, that they're not gonna turn into zombies and try to suck your blood out of your body.
It's a perfect horror setup for a kid's book.
Yes, perfect.
Like like as many horror books for adults have certain kind of repeated setups and introductions to what is spooky for adults. This is like a perfect equivalent for kids. This is a perfect place to start.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it captures some really cool stuff about moving that I don't think I've seen in a lot of things. Like, it's a fake out scare for no reason, but like there's a scene in her room where Amanda's like, my bed is full of bugs.
Yeah,
it's not spoilers. It's but she's just really uncomfortable in it because like the shape of her room is different and like the position of her bed is different. I think that's pretty cool.
Okay, so to describe exactly what's happening, basically Amanda and Josh are basically representing two kind of moods for moving. Josh is adamantly opposed. Like,
Josh is a shit.
Josh is a little asshole.
Yeah, he's like he's just constantly like pushing, like he's stubborn and he's constantly pushing back like throughout the entire I think it's just like, I think he's gonna be resistant just because he reminds me of a toddler who's like stuck in the no phase.
Yeah.
But like he just like kind of didn't grow out of it.
Yeah, Amanda kind of mentions that. And I think in the show, the dad mentions that. But we'll talk about the show later.
I mean, it's a classic Goosebumps frustrating younger sibling scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, by far, Amanda's like more mature about this whole thing.
Yeah, Amanda understands why they're moving. Like, Josh doesn't get it. Amanda understands that, like, look, her dad is is not forced to pay mortgage on this house. They're getting it basically for free because they inherited it. So he's able to pursue his writing career that he's always wanted to try. So she understands that this has a really big benefit for him, and that she, at a certain point, the way that she describes what was it? It's like a windowsill, like a window seat in the house.
Yeah.
She has a bay window.
The bay window. Yeah. She, at a certain point when they're getting ready to leave, because the book presents it, basically the beginning of the book is them, the whole family coming out to check out the house, which is being shown to them by, what was his name?
Dolls.
Compton Dawes.
Compton Dawes, who is handsome.
Very handsome. He has a dimple.
He's handsome and young, and that threw me off. I was telling Bob, like, what kid is going to be like, oh, the handsome young man real estate agent?
Yeah.
I completely agree. I was like, what is this?
That's R.L. Stein.
Yeah, Jovial Bob gets a little, it's him being an older man writing a 12-year-old girl, it kind of comes out in weird ways.
Yeah.
Like, especially with the way that he, aka Amanda, describes Amanda's mother, which is basically just nothing but him describing her hair. It's just like,
yeah,
okay.
Her black straight hair.
As an aside, we have to talk about R.L. Stein's descriptions of things.
Yes.
R.L. Stein has this, I think it's R.L. Stein knows he needs to get a certain word count for these books. And he doesn't necessarily have enough material to get there. So sometimes he'll just be like, I was wearing a denim jacket and I had short sleeves on and pants, and my pants were green, and I have brown hair, and my mom was wearing a yellow shirt.
Well, it's interesting because it'll be like, at one point she's she's describing what she's wearing. And then the next sentence is just like, it doesn't matter. Like, she's just like, I'm wearing like white shorts and a blue tank. And anyway, this house sucks. Like,
it's so weird.
That keeps happening. Like, at one point she describes her dad as like, over, or like, I know she describes her friend later as chubby.
Yeah, a lot of shaming
but
with her dad.
Well, I guess it's like 2 times.
Overweight, yes.
Yeah, he's overweight to the point that his shirt keeps always getting untucked.
Yeah.
It's just enough, as if like he's trying to make it just real enough without like boring the shit out of you with something that doesn't really matter. Because it just like on to the next sentence is like, anyway, so yeah, my dad's fat, whatever. This house sucks. Josh is being a dick. Like,
It's like there's a scene later when all the kids show up, and I was like, "Oh, here we go! I know exactly what's going to happen." And the next paragraph is R.L. Stein being like, "Some of them were wearing blue."
Yup.
Like, Jesus God, Bob, come on.
Jovial, Bob, what the fuck? But yeah, I think we've made a serious flaw with this podcast so far by not mentioning the bestest boy in this entire Petey,
who they keep referring to a lot as dumb dog.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, man, this family does not deserve this dog.
No
shit.
The only fucking character in this entire story who knows what the fuck is going on and is like, guys, watch out, it's Petey.
Yeah.
Petey, MV fucking P, MVD, most valuable dog, MVP, most valuable puppy.
Pete, MVPD.
It's Petey.
When the Benson family gets there, they're basically like checking it out, and Dawes is showing them around, and Petey the entire time is going nuts.
Yeah.
Petey is losing his shit. And no one really knows why. Everyone's just like, oh, that dumb dog, that stupid dog. And, we'll find out why later. But yeah, like Petey, holy shit, man. Petey is described as a terrier, like a little white dog.
White terrier, yeah.
Yeah. So just to give you the idea of like that kind of like yapping that I'm sure drove all of the family insane. But yeah, so then they go back home and then they get ready to leave. I think there's a little scene with Amanda and a friend of hers who...
Yes, she talks to her friend...
Kathy.
Yeah. Her name is different in the show, but yeah, I think...
Yeah, for some reason.
Yeah, for some inexplicable reason. We'll talk about that later.
Her name is Jennifer in the show, and I was like, man, big slight on people named Kathy.
I don't remember her friend being in the show.
She's not. Amanda just writes a letter to her, and she's like, "Dear Jennifer."
Why the hell did they
everyone knows my best friend?
Why did they
Jennifer.
even include that scene? We'll talk about it later. But yeah, there's that scene, and then they decide to fully move to Dark Falls.
Now, notably, they have not sold their house.
Yeah.
At this point, the house is it's a free house for them. First of all, and it doesn't get any better than this. But they have not managed to sell their old house. This is important for a much later event.
Yes.
For being okay with the end of this book. I'd also like to note very quickly that before they go back, Petey actually and Josh go missing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So first of all, in the house, when they are first exploring it, Amanda sees a mysterious boy walking around the house, and then gaslights herself by telling her she didn't see it, which I cannot tell you how many times this happens in the book. Oh wait, yes I can, 14.
Mario actually counted all of the fake outs. That's so good.
So she sees this boy, whatever, no big deal, forget that, nothing weird about it. But Josh and Petey are missing. Mr. Dawes is like, well, let's go find him, and puts on a fucking cowboy hat.
Yeah.
where they go driving around town, they see a school with no one's in it, and they're like, oh, that's kind of weird, there's no one in the school, except that it's summer, so I don't know why they would be. And they find the cemetery. This is important. There's a cemetery in this place, and Josh is being first big cliffhanger of the book, Josh is being chased to the cemetery. Amanda's like, oh my god, what's going on with Josh? Next chapter, oh, never mind, he's chasing Petey, the dog.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I remember the specific way that he worded it was like, he was being chased.
Yes.
And then the next chapter, wait, he wasn't being chased, he was chasing.
Yeah, someone or something was after him.
But, except not even remotely.
Yeah.
So yes,
yes.
that is important. That will come up later. That Petey seems to be interested in the graveyard.
And Mr. Dawes has a hat.
And Mr. Dawes has a cowboy hat.
Stetson.
Stetson. He's a fucking. He's so cool. Like
I know, right?
Like when Petey shows up and like starts barking his head off, he plays that so cool. He's like, he must smell something on me. I'm a cool guy. Don't worry about it. And I'm handsome.
Do you see my dimple? Everyone sees my dimple.
And my cowboy hat. Like
I got my cowboy hat, my dimple, and I'm young. What's up? Real estate. Let's go. Who wants to move to Dark Falls? You can look at my dimple all day. So another big thing that is so after they move officially, another thing that comes into stark contrast with the kids is specifically Amanda, because I don't think we mentioned that, but the whole book is from Amanda's perspective.
Yeah, I learned this recently. There's only like 3 books that are not told from first-person perspective in Goosebumps.
Oh, really?
And one of them is Stay Out of the Basement. This is apparently the way they are all written in the perspective of one of the kids specifically.
Yeah, I definitely remember that. One of the most vivid memories I have as a kid is after I read, or in the middle of reading The Cuckoo Clock of Doom in school, like during class. And I specifically remember that being in first person, and that's one of the reasons why it fucked with me, is because that book actually messed with me when I was a kid. So anyway, get ready for a future episode. But yeah, so they all come back, and one of the things that's really interesting is that the town is constantly described as being in shadow, and that it's Dark Falls, obviously. So I guess it's going to be a little dark, but it is described that there are a bunch of trees that are constantly casting shadows throughout the town, and that I think there was a line about it just being darker in general than any other town that they've been to. So that will play a factor later. But yeah, so they get there. I think Amanda sees some more ghosts.
I mean, we can cut through like 4 chapters right now and to say Amanda sees ghosts constantly.
Yeah.
It's literally like 4 chapters of Amanda seeing ghosts everywhere. Mm-hmm. And then the next page, either it being Josh, who is described as a real sicko. Or like an open window and her curtains are just blowing in the breeze, or a pile of laundry at several points in the book that she just mistakes for a human being. Literally, it's about 5 chapters where this continually happens. where Amanda.
Before we get too far, I do want to say that in my notes I did have, quote, "Hey, that's quite a hat," from Amanda talking about the cowboy hat. But and that's another thing that I have in my notes is jump scares don't really work in books. Like they don't hit the same way. There is a specific moment when Amanda is getting jumped from behind, like an arm is coming across. But the way that Jovial Bob describes it, he specifically says that it's Josh's hand. It's like, were you supposed to be like worrying about who, like if it was a ghost hand or something? But he specifically said that it was Josh's hand, and it completely ruined whatever jump scare that was going to be.
I mean, yeah, like I had in my notes here for the next 5 chapters until chapter 9 when the next thing actually happens. Every chapter ends with like chapter 7, there's a ghost at the top of the stairs, and then the literal next page, no it wasn't.
Nope,
it was a pile of laundry. Also, in the middle of this, do want to note the extremely very cool first time I said, well, this rules, the dream Amanda has in her new house.
Yes,
where she dreams they're all dead and her entire family are skeletons.
Yeah.
With scraps of skin falling off and no eyes, eating a plate full of human bones.
Yes. Yeah, I had that in my notes too. I was like, oh man, this is rad.
I was like, this kicks ass, Amanda.
Like Goosebumps works, like especially this book in particular, works really well toward the beginning. It really kind of sags toward the beginning, middle. It starts to pick up again toward the middle, but that scene where she's like having the dream and her whole family's skeletons and they're eating a plate of bones was like, okay, where is this going? What's going on? Even though you kind of get an idea of where things are going right from the beginning, but we'll talk about that. But yeah, there is a quote that I have here from the dad saying, "Stop seeing things." just a command to his daughter, like, stop seeing things.
She handles it all really well because
Yeah, she does.
For
Holy shit.
For a couple of weeks. Well, first of all, she describes herself as just being like more mature. I don't remember. She doesn't use that word, but in comparison to Josh, because she's older and a girl, probably. Well, not in that order. Probably because I'm older and a girl, I think is what she... Oh, a lot more sensible, probably because I'm older and because I'm a girl. But for weeks, these noises are constantly happening in her bedroom, and she just comes out and says, I'm used to it.
Yes!
Even though her clothes are constantly coming out, just laying there, she's always just like, oh, it just must be mom. Like, she's constantly trying to cope with the reality that, like, does not make sense, that doesn't seem to be affecting the rest, like Josh and her parents, because her room is just, I guess, that hot. Because in the show, like you find out like like they show you more why. Like where they're, I don't want to, because we're not at that part yet. But you find out like why her room is like the hot spot, I guess, for what she's experiencing.
Right.
Yeah, I was watching this morning. I was like, "Damn, yeah, it's like all out, huh?" Like,
yeah.
If I remember correctly, a lot of these Goosebumps books have a running theme, which is basically that adults suck, or that like adults just don't get it. Adults just don't. They won't believe you.
Yeah.
So there's no point in even trying to explain yourself.
Yeah.
When in reality, if this were happening to my kid, I'd be like, okay, you're sleeping in our room tonight. We're not, there is a very real fucking thing going on here where some fucking peeping Tom motherfucker is like harassing this girl. And it's just like, holy shit, red fucking flags everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, she's seen people in the house like 4 times.
Yeah.
Her room is basically constantly alive with the sound of giggling children.
Yeah. Like what the hell?
I mean, it's a free house for you, Dad. But
yeah,
at
free
the same
house.
time, it's...
at what cost, What?
but at
He's
what
trying
cost?
to be a writer. Come on.
Dad, I know you want to be a writer, but points at room where every single door is slamming shut on its own.
Points at room where a skeleton's crawling out.
He looks in the mirror and he's a skeleton eating a bowl of bones, which is fucking funny anyway, because like, what, skeletons eat bones? Is that?
I love it.
Did we talk about how they even got this house though? Because they just wind up getting a letter from a great uncle, I think, that he's never met. He's never met, and they're like, "Hey, you got a free house." That doesn't, like, he's so happy to quit his job and be a writer. He doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't Google. I guess you couldn't really Google that, but at the time, they don't check it out. They don't fucking care. This house is old as shit. This place is crummy. They don't care. They don't have mortgage anymore.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they have lines where it's like the dad, like Amanda being like, "I don't remember having a great uncle."
Yeah, it's
and the
the
dad's
mom
like,
who
"Neither
says
do
that.
I."
Yeah. He's described, I think, as like jumping around the house dancing or something.
Yeah. When he gets the letter, he's like described as like completely jovial, like someone named Bob. But anyway,
Jovial Bob.
This is ironically a great metaphor for the home owners market today, which is that the only way you can buy a house is if your fucking uncle dies. Like, yeah,
or if it's fucking haunted.
Although nowadays, I think that it's even more of a benefit to get a house for free, just like fucking free.
Even if it's a dump and the creepy people watching you and
it's
walking
a fixer-upper.
I mean, that's the thing. I did have to think while I was watching it. It's like, I mean, if I just got this house for free, like a free house,
there's like a level of like paranormal shit I will tolerate with a free house that is much higher than like any other place.
That's the contrast. Like these kids having to, because once you're an adult now, it's just this like security foundation, like that's so important that you have to deal with these compromises, like, oh, well, my house is haunted and my kid's being haunted and there's a weird boy watching her, but what are you gonna do? And they're trying to kill us.
I do think like the parents' priorities are so strange because, for example, this happens a few chapters later, but it's like one chapter. So like when Petey next runs away and the kids are like, "Mom, Dad, we have to go find Petey," and their mom is like, "After lunch, kids." And your dad is like, "I'm just too busy." Get in the fucking car and go look for your dog, you jackass.
It's like they just don't care.
Well, in their defense though, because they're described as like they're clearly like just focused on this house, like they're both working on it, like he's sweaty and she's I don't know,
Yeah.
sweaty in the hair.
Apparently they're fighting a lot.
Oh, that's
not like
right.
a major
Yeah,
point.
Yeah, they're
that-
constantly snapping at each other. in
Yeah,
the
I
beginning.
remember there was a line about, where is it? Oh yeah, they had an argument about the bacon being, quote, too crispy.
Yes, I laughed at that.
Which, hey, agree.
I mean,
there is
honestly-
a point at which bacon is too crispy. Scrapes the roof of your mouth. Fuck that.
I agree. There is a point when bacon's too crispy. I agree with that on this one. But, and I think R.L. Stine is making some salient points there.
About crispy
Some
bacon?
observational humor. So we have to talk about the fact that, so after several chapters of the house being spooky, we have to talk about the town as a whole, because...
Yes. Before we get there, I really want to quickly mention that Josh is always jumping Amanda, like you said, but
Yep, constantly.
But there is a part where Amanda plays a joke back on him and pretends to die in a closet.
Oh my god!
Which is wild. He loses his mind over
shit.
this.
Like it's truly the kid who could like dish it out but can't take it.
Oh yeah.
Amanda just lays down with her head in the closet door so she can't be seen.
Yup.
And Josh is like, Amanda, are you in there? And walks in and just sees her legs and flips shit. I mean, he's like screaming down the
bolts.
halls, probably has to go to therapy.
Meanwhile, Petey comes up to her and like licks her face.
She's so proud of that
Yeah.
too, because she goes
She
to
should be.
bed.
Good for you,
with,
Amanda.
Like I think it's just like she has a smile on her face, like thinking about how well of a job she did scaring her brother.
She was listening to him screaming downstairs because he was freaking out so hard that she
I've
could hear it.
ruined Josh's life.
It's permanently traumatized your kid brother because he was annoying. But hey, you know,
I mean, fair credit where it's due. He is annoying. He is a
he's
sicko.
he gets so much more chill later on, but at the beginning he is such a little fucking nightmare. Anyway,
So they go out into town because, and I literally, this is a thing Amanda says. She's like, okay, so mom and dad, you just want us to get out of the house, huh? And her mom's like, yeah, get the fuck out of here.
Yes.
Like, take your brother, please, and get the fuck out. So in true 90s fashion, these two kids just begin walking unsupervised around their new town, and they meet a mysterious child named Ray Thurston, whose clothing is described. And subsequently, Petey begins barking at him, and he's like, oh, much like Mr. Dawes, he's like, he must smell something on me.
Yeah.
You know?
and a real quick note for the audiobook listeners. One of the things that I really want to, what was her name, Tara?
Yep.
I really want to praise her for is that she made Ray sound like Eeyore, and every time he talked, it made me laugh.
Ooh, that's interesting.
I loved it. It was fantastic.
So Amanda says, and I quote to Ray, it's really dead around here. And Ray's like, ha 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 ha, for a little too long. and then unprompted, he goes, I used to live in your house, which is the
Fucking what?
creepy guy. Like,
Well, she calls him out on it. She's like, hey, she wasn't it?
Yeah.
And which is what prompts the convo.
Yeah.
And he's like, I haven't been there in a long time.
and she's like, what do you mean a long time?
And immediately Amanda's like, oh, well, I must be mistaken.
Yep. Yeah, it's just my imagination.
Oh, no, yeah. So he's like, I used to live there, which is weird.
Yeah.
Very.
Don't tell me
Then
that.
they go to the
Don't.
playground where a bunch of kids appear, and I should say the kids appear very normally, and they are described, and they are named, all of whom are irrelevant, except for Karen Somerset. I want to highlight Karen Somerset.
Yes.
This is important for the TV adaptation, who also tells Amanda that she used to live in her house.
Yeah,
Yup.
it was done in an interesting way, though, because if I remember correctly, was it her or was it another girl where as they're leaving, because at a certain point they stop playing together and they start...
It's the same girl.
It's the same girl.
She
She sees it
confirms it.
twice.
She does it. She
Yeah.
does it really interestingly, where it's like at the end of the chapter, and you use like a cliffhanger where she's running away and she says something, and Amanda was like, "I thought I heard her say that she lived in my house, but I have to
because
be
it freaked her
mistaken."
out so much. She was like, "Oh no, I must have just."
Yeah, I
but,
must
but then she confirmed it. And it's like, what?
Yeah, it's like okay.
It's one of those Amanda gaslights herself
Yep.
moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
what's weird about it though is that Karen does say it twice. Like the first time they meet her, she's like, "I used to live in your house," and then when they're leaving, she's like, "Hey, by the way, I used to live in your house."
Yeah.
And Amanda's just like,
Well, because they asked like, "Hey, do you want to hang out later?" And she's like, and then Amanda asked like, "Well, do you know where I live?" And she's like, "Yeah, I used to live there."
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like
exactly.
yes, I know where you live. Even though that was actually the first time they met. When you, I just don't realize that was the first time they met. How would she know where she lives? That's why it's so creepy. Chills. Ray too. Oh, sorry, it's just dawning on me.
They're all fucking weird. They're unsubtly extremely creepy. Also, let's take a moment to appreciate the scene where all the children in the playground encircle Amanda with baseball bats. And she's like, what's happening?
And Josh doesn't notice.
Josh is over in the corner, like, looking at bugs or some shit.
He was fucking around with Petey.
Oh yeah, because Petey was losing his fucking mind.
Yeah.
And Josh is like, what's going on with you? And trying to like get him to stop barking.
Meanwhile, Amanda's like, I'm gonna be beaten to death in a second, Josh.
Yeah.
Josh, help him.
In my direction.
Despite that, she's still denying or like questioning her own reality.
Yeah, because 5 seconds later, when Mr. Dawes shows up and is like, hey kids, having a great day, they like go back to their normal positions, and Amanda's like, I must have imagined that they were encircling me.
I was just imagining.
She's gonna gaslight herself into fucking oblivion, dude.
Girl.
Yeah, if anything, one of the things that you should definitely learn from this episode is, hey, trust your natural inclinations. Trust trust your gut.
Yeah.
Like every now and then, like, hey, you got gut feelings for a reason. Maybe if you don't feel comfortable in a place and people are encircling you with baseball bats, yeah, maybe run. And I'm trying to look for it, but I remember that there was a Jovial Bob recently said something that was very funny as we're going through this book. He said something like, the theme for all Goosebumps books is you should always run.
Yeah. You can say that about a lot of horror movies, right?
Yeah, totally.
No one ever runs until it's like too late.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing because it's one of those things where if they did run, then there wouldn't be a movie. So it's kind of the fun thing.
Yeah,
but for a lesson for readers, get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, trust.
Cheese it immediately. So I was gonna say, this scene happens. Mr. Dawes shows up. The kids run away, go back to normal, and then we like have some time pass where Amanda and Josh just like hang out with these kids and play baseball for a number of times and just having fun. Karen, I would like to note, is described as having a great smile even though she had braces.
Yes.
Oh yeah, braces lined her teeth.
Yeah, which, like, spoilers, it would suck to be a ghost and be, like, stuck in braces forever.
Oh, man, that would suck so hard.
So, mysteriously, the sun comes out. So, we should know, Dark Falls is, like, always cloudy. It's, like, super cold for summer. It's, weird. Obviously, there's tons of trees. It's very shady. The sun comes out during one of these baseball games, and the kids are like, we gotta go. We promised our parents to be home for lunch.
Yeah.
And Amanda's like, but it's 11:30.
Yeah.
Which, that's lunchtime.
Yeah. I think she has a line where it's like, but the sun only just came out. Like, come on, let's have some fun. Let's have some real fun. Oh, is that in the show?
Yeah, that's the show. Okay. She's more perplexed by eating lunch at 11:30 than she is. Which is like, maybe they want to go home and like wash their hands, Amanda. They've been like playing baseball for an hour. Like, this happens. There's like several days of baseball for some reason.
Several days of baseball.
We get into like what Rachel's talking about, where Amanda is getting used to how spooky her room is.
Yeah.
And like is getting used to this weird shit constantly happening, and it's no big deal. She yet again sees a girl at the stairs, but again it's a pile of laundry.
Apparently.
So then they go play baseball, and suddenly during it, Petey runs away. He like gnaws through his leash and like breaks the bars of this baseball stadium or whatever and gets the fuck out of town. At which point they go home and their parents don't want to look for them. They hate that dog.
They're so tired from working on that house constantly, and they're just like, fucking go. At a certain point, it'd be like that one of the parents like gives them the keys to the car and is like, just find him.
You find him.
I'm gonna lay down.
So Petey goes missing. I think they do go look for him, but unsuccessfully, because of course they waited like an hour to eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Yeah,
like, Mom,
they were forced to.
It's like, you didn't cook these. Like, these will keep for an hour. Like,
definitely.
So this is a fun part in the book that was changed in the audiobook. That they eat dinner, and they all and like Josh feels horrible. Josh is like devastated about Petey getting away.
Yeah.
Because he thinks it's his fault, etc., etc. And they're eating dinner, and their mom just goes, "What a rough night for a party, huh?" And then Amanda's like, "I had totally forgotten that my parents were going to a potluck dinner tonight." They're eating dinner and then going to a potluck dinner. In the audiobook, they changed that to just being a neighborhood party.
Yes.
Well, actually, in the Kindle book I have, it's a block party.
Yeah, that's the difference between the original print version of the book
and the classic reprint.
Yes.
Oh, so I have
They
like
changed-
a newer.
Yes.
Oh,
You and I got the newer one.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, there are a bunch
They also
of...
changed the dates on the gravestone.
Yes, they did, to be more in line with when the book was released, or the new book was released.
So, Amanda's like goes to bed like hating everything, her life being a absolute nightmare where like ghosts are constantly present, and now their dog is gone. Josh just like busts in.
Yeah.
He's like, "Amanda, we gotta find Petey right now. It's midnight. He's got a halogen flashlight, which why?"
I found it. Let's go.
She's like, "We gotta go." Amanda's like, "What are you talking about? We gotta go to the cemetery at midnight. Listen." But Amanda's like, "You know what? This room fucking sucks. I would rather be out in the graveyard with you, Josh, than spend even one more second in this nightmare zone where..."
My bedroom, the nightmare.
So they go out. Also want to note, in this part of the narrative, the parents in the first edition are still at a potluck dinner.
Yep.
At midnight,
yes.
which means they're getting blazed.
Dude,
Yep.
they are gone. They are smashed. Completely fucked up.
They go out and instantly realize it's a bad idea when someone is following them.
It's Ray or Roy. What's his name?
Ray.
Ray, yeah.
Yeah, Ray shows up, and so they go to the graveyard, and turns out, guess
Wait,
what?
we gotta say. So Ray shows up, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, they're like, "What are you doing out here at midnight?" He's like, "Oh, I just sneak out sometimes when I can't sleep."
Oh yeah.
They're like, "Do your parents like that?" They don't know about it.
Yeah, he says with a wicked smile.
With
they
a
don't
wicked
know.
smile.
So then they're like, "Oh, well, we're going to the cemetery," and Ray just goes, "No, you're not." What, like the most menacing child ever. "No, you're not."
So they go. Yeah, they go to the cemetery, and turns out that Petey was there. And hey, props to Josh for wanting to find the dog.
But then remove those props.
Yeah, remove the
He
props
finds
immediately.
the dog. And it's like, this dog fucking stinks.
Yes.
Huge props, and then minus props for being like, my dog stinks like shit. Throw it away. I don't want it anymore.
But he says he smells like a dead rat. And then he doesn't want to touch him. So they need to leave. And Amanda's like, "Okay, Josh, we'll go get him." And he's like, "No, I'm not touching him." So he's freaking out about the dog, and they run all the way here. And now Josh doesn't want to like actually pick up the dog because he's stinky. So he's like, "You do it."
Stinky dog.
My stinky dumb dog.
So also in the cemetery, they discover there's this giant amphitheater overlooked by what I'm describing as Chekhov's big tree.
Yes.
They're like, "This tree was almost uprooted. Its roots were sticking out of the ground. It looked like it might fall over." And they're like, "What's the deal with this like weird theater thing?" And Ray's like, "Oh, this is where all the town meetings are. Don't worry about it."
Don't think about it. Are you thinking about it? Stop.
So Amanda, being the only person in this entire book with a like any sense of decency, like tries to get Petey back, who runs away. They chase after him. They find out, like as they're running, they find a gravestone. Whose is it? It's Karen. She's dead.
Dun dun dun.
And because of the timing, it's too recent to be her grandparent or whatever.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. Like immediately, like, oh my God, it's Karen. And then, was it Ray being like, that could have, or was it Josh being like, that could easily just be a relative?
It's
like when
Josh,
she tries to
yeah.
explain
Yeah.
it says Amanda. Josh scowled and looked away. Like he doesn't want anything to do with this shit.
Amanda.
Can we not
Amanda.
make everything ghosts?
You and your ghost thing, God. What is your deal?
My dog stinks, Amanda. Can we talk about that?
Hurry up, Amanda. Stop looking at gravestones. We got to give our dog a bath.
So she finds all the kids. They're all dead. Of course, Ray is also dead. He died in 1988.
Of course.
At which point, Amanda says, I'm surrounded by death.
I'm surrounded by death.
Dum, dum, dum.
Dun, dun, dun. There's a lot of dun, dun, dun. Like every chapter, the end of every damn chapter is dun, dun, dun.
Is dum, dum, dum.
I also like, once that like hits you as if like, oh my God, so surprised.
Yeah, you haven't figured this out yet.
Yeah. He's constantly apologizing. That's how this chapter ends, with him apologizing. Yeah, it's me. I'm so sorry, Amanda.
I'm so sorry.
It's a real bummer,
it's
I
funny
know.
because they have this confrontation now. And this is where he starts to explain, and he's like, I'm sorry, you weren't supposed to know yet. As if learning later when they're eating you or whatever they do is somehow going to just make it better.
Yeah, the show comes up with a very contrived reason for this. But the book is just like, no, the ghosts just have to wait a while to eat you.
Yeah.
They just let you hang around, get comfortable, get acclimated,
They couldn't have gotten you immediately.
I was surprised because I'd watched the show first when she describes like, oh, we've been here for a few weeks now. I'm like, they haven't fucking killed you yet?
Yeah.
You would have been eaten like the first night.
So it's around this part where the really interesting thing for me happened. Like, this is where, when I say Goosebumps, reading this and Goosebumps is like simultaneously worse and better than I remember, this is where it's better than I remember. Because there was a reason that the kids were encircling them with baseball bats earlier. There was a reason why the dog was barking at everybody, because Petey, it is found out, Ray, I believe, just spills his guts about it and says that Petey, dogs, animals can sense the dead.
Yeah, so they have to go first.
So they have to go first. So that's why Petey is stinky, is because Petey's a zombie dog now.
Yeah.
They killed him. He's now a zombie dog.
When they find Petey, his eyes are red now.
Yes.
Which nobody comments on. It's just like, no, his eyes are red. I think it's mentioned twice, but nobody's like, his eyes are red. That's weird.
Can you imagine a zombie dog with patches of flesh falling off, bright fucking red eyes, kind of a ghostly look to him? And
this dog stinks!
Oh, this dog stinks! What's wrong with my dog? Oh, we gotta give him a bath. He'll be fine.
It's such a kid level attachment to something where you want so hard for something, and then it's like this little inconvenient. You're like, no, get that thing away from me. I love my dog. Ew, it stinks.
It's true. That's so true, though. Of kid level, a love for a thing.
Oh yeah,
I love this thing until it's even remotely inconvenient.
Yep.
It's that Toy Story meme of I'm done playing with you now.
but so it's interesting you say that Ray was apologizing, because this chapter, Ray's super bummed out because he totally botched his job, because he's like, I'm the watcher.
That's right.
I'm supposed to watch you guys.
Yeah.
I used to live in your house. I'm the watcher. Spooky sentences, all these things. I'm the watcher. That's creepy. I used to live in your house. That's creepy. But he's like, I'm supposed to keep you guys out of here. Guess I blew it. I'm a bad ghost. So he's like, this town can't survive without fresh blood, which I think is a powerful metaphor for small town America.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that later in the middle of the week, at a few days after I read this. It was like, oh, okay, all right, that works. I think a little. Well, we'll get to
sort of works.
The metaphors get kind of fucked up later. Particularly with the ending, but we aren't there yet.
Yeah.
So they're like. Ray officially labels the house they live in the dead house.
Yes.
That's where everyone goes when they first move into town. The dead house, which is title drop. And then Ray starts fucking floating.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's like,
and this is where she starts to describe everything is dead now.
And then suddenly Josh turns his flashlight. And coolest scene in the book, Ray fucking melts. My exact words in my notes.
Yep.
His face falls off. His eyes roll out of his head. He falls over. His open skull cracks against a tombstone.
Yep.
His head explodes.
It's
amazing.
Yeah. She describes it as it looks like he was walking towards Wild, but he's actually just falling. And it says, and gasped as his skull hit the top of a marble gravestone and cracked open with a sickening splat.
Yeah.
Like, that is
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Jovial Bob's the best. But yeah, this is like another moment where it's like, holy shit, this fucking rules. And this is the moment where I was like, oh, I do remember that there was the TV show adaptation for this. There's no fucking way they're gonna do that.
No,
this is like legitimately fucking freaky. Like, I can't imagine a kid reading this and like watching a show and actually seeing that shit happen. Like, this is the kind
like
of shit
80s horror movie gore. This is
Yeah.
like classic gore horror movie shit. Like,
yeah, dude. Oh my god, it's so good. It's so good.
and then Amanda says, "Such a dark world we had entered, and now it was time to get out."
Yes, I highlighted that because it was just like, it felt like shit's like, it's hit a peak now, you know? Like,
Yeah.
it's just, we're running now.
Oh, we're rolling into
Yeah.
climax
Yeah,
now. But this is,
We are at fight or flight, more like fight and flight.
yeah, because then they run home. They're like, "Oh, I guess mom and dad are still at the potluck. It's 2 a.m."
Yeah. I love that part.
Oh,
They just
great
get
mac
home.
and cheese salad. Dawn, I'm going back for fifths.
I love how they run back home, completely not remembering that their parents are like at that party. And as soon as they get home, they're like, "What? Where is it? Oh, the fucking potluck."
Well, I mean, I think, you know, because like they leave after midnight.
Yeah.
And you would
Yeah.
expect that your damn parents would be back home. They're totally not.
No, once you're in your 6th bowl of green bean casserole, you're not going anywhere.
I also like how commanding Amanda gets, because she says that, you know, they've got to believe us. If they don't, we'll drag them out of the
Yeah.
house. Which I would have loved to see.
But they get home and suddenly all the kids are there and they have the most amazing line,
Oh,
incredible
I have
line.
it too. I have it too.
"We used to live in your house, and guess what? Now we're dead in your house."
Yes!
I had that exact line quote. That's so fucking good. Now we're dead in your house.
they laugh. They know that that's really bad and funny.
Then the next chapter opens with Amanda saying, "Karen, you seem so nice."
Dude, what a thing to say.
You seem so nice.
Did she?
I was nice until I moved here. and then George is
Followed
like,
by, "We were all nice, but now we're dead."
Is it around here that the Garth Marenghi comes out? Where
Yeah,
they start
yeah.
saying,
This is Garth Marenghi's.
dead, and bits of sick.
So we learn it was all a trick. There's no great uncle. They do it every year to get more new blood.
Mm-hmm.
But then suddenly, Mr. Dawes comes in.
Yes.
Dimple Man.
Handsomely.
Did he have his cowboy hat on though?
I don't think they say it, but I do choose to believe it.
Yeah, let's just assume. And he bursts in, and then Amanda turns to him and says, "Hey, that's quite a hat."
And he's still handsome. And I believe it's even noted that he's still handsome.
oh my
He's
God,
just
you're
like,
wrong.
"Damn,
Yeah, no, I
Amanda."
remember that.
He asked Ian us both, his handsome face tight with worry.
Amanda, what the fuck?
Amanda,
Amanda,
Jesus.
come on. No,
Keep it in your pants.
He's
No.
30. Stop.
So we get into some incredible stranger danger shit.
Oh,
right here,
yeah.
Yes.
where he's like, "I know where your parents are. We gotta go get them right now. Come into my van."
Dude.
My man.
Yeah, I was really like, I started to fold up. I was like, no, please, like all the warning signs, like just take
And
off.
I'm sorry, like, Amanda, you really dropped the damn ball, because who was one of the first people that Petey started freaking out about?
Right?
One
She's constantly questioning
damn
herself.
Exactly. That's the theme. Stop questioning yourself so much. Get a little
Go with your
confidence.
gut.
You know, go with that gut.
Don't trust realtors.
And realtors are all fucking ghost people who are trying to feed a town full of ghost zombies.
I'm also curious why it's only, it's like, okay, because this happens once a year.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, like, they only need just a little bit? Like, it's a whole town.
I guess.
Also,
They're
I have
feeding.
to, like, we seem to be conflating, like, ghosts, zombies, and vampires into one,
Yes,
like,
they're
omega
all
creature.
Three.
So this raises a great question where I really think that, like, halfway through this book, Jovial Bob was like, where do we go from here, gang? Because like it really seems like the start of the book up until Ray shows up is ghosts.
Yes.
Yeah.
It seems like it's just ghosts. And then Ray shows up and the concept of ghosts gets a little hinky.
Yeah.
Suddenly they're like playing baseball and stuff. And then it goes full on literally Return of the Living Dead, where they're like, oh no, there is a factory explosion and like all the factory workers and everyone in town got poisoned by death gas and became the living dead.
Well, it was like a plastic factory, right?
Yes. It's just wild because it's like literally how the zombies happen in Return of the Living Dead. Like the gas just kills everyone.
Oh, you're totally right. Yeah. You're 100% right.
And like but they can't die. They die, but they cannot peacefully die. So they have to keep feeding on the living. They find this out because they find Mr. Dawes' tombstone when he takes them to the cemetery, which if you're like, I know your parents are, they drive back to the fucking cemetery in a town full of zombies. Come on, gang.
Yeah.
But Josh broke the dang flashlight.
Damn it.
And, but we do see that, like, I guess because they haven't fed, maybe, like, Mr. Dawes has become, like, full zombo, and is, like, his skin is peeling off, and, like, loose and, like, melting on his face. And Josh, like, throws the flashlight at him, and it splits his head open, and, like, his skull comes out.
Yeah, it's funny because she's like, she tells Josh to run, but he's already running. He bolts, he leaves Amanda behind. Like he throws the flashlight and just gets the fuck out of there.
Run.
Like this kid's a dick.
So like all the town like rises from their graves, combining zombie ghost stuff. I don't think they mentioned them like climbing out of their graves. They mentioned them like floating out. And they're like floating from the cemetery, approaching the amphitheater where their mom and dad are. And Amanda and Josh are like, we gotta push this tree over. So chapter 17, it ends with them pushing the tree and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You're like, oh no.
Oh no.
What? And then chapter 18 is like, oh no, it did work though.
Yeah. It's like you hear Jovial Bob being like, well, that would be a really cool idea if it didn't work and they'd have to figure out something to do. That makes for a really good cliffhanger, but I can't think of anything else, so fuck it.
So, yeah, and like the whole town dies instantly.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's like they all melt, but then Karen like looks over at Amanda with her eyes falling out of her head and is like, thank you, Amanda.
Starts thanking her.
She thanks her, and they have to cover their hands over their ears because the town is dying at once, and they're just making all these disgusting noises.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Years of therapy to get past this moment.
Holy shit. Oh my god. And so then if I remember correctly, then they run back home. Mm-hmm. And this is the end of the book where they run back home, start packing up all their stuff. Thankfully, like Mario said earlier, they did still have a house to go back to because they hadn't sold their previous house yet.
Yeah.
So they start packing up, and as they're leaving, Amanda goes back to grab something.
No, she just feels compelled to just look at the house.
Yeah, she just is like, I had to look at it.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
It would be honestly, it'd be better if she had to grab something, but unfortunately, Jovial Bob didn't get that
no.
one.
I'm editorializing a little bit, but
Jovial Bob just went with compulsion.
Yeah, compulsion. And so from there, Amanda sees someone who looks like Mr. Dawes.
Well, yeah, because when she's standing there, a whole new family comes.
Yep.
And they're like, wait, who are you? And I love this part where she explains to the kid who asks her, I used to live in your house. She found herself answering and then thinks that she sees Mr. Dawes and then runs to the car and then get the hell out of there.
And then gets the hell out of there.
Yeah.
Which, like, if that happened, if you were just moving in and that happened, like, I would be like, Mom, Dad, get back in the car. Get back in the car. This ain't working.
Get out of here.
Also, what's the little...
Also, get a dog.
I love that, and it threw me for a loop because my first thought was, oh no, there's somehow like dead, and this has been a dream the entire time or something.
That's
like
same thought.
Implication.
Same thought I had.
But it says like I didn't look back. I slammed the car door behind me, and we sped away. So
when I first read it, I was really confused. I was like, wait a minute. Are they ghosts?
Yeah.
Because the reason why we think that is because earlier on, the ghost children say, I used to live in your house.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that the house was the place where everyone came back to and blah, blah, blah. Or that they got new quote unquote blood to get in and then suck them out and then, discard them. Amanda saying that seems to indicate that that she is dead and that their family is dead.
Yeah.
And that something happened where this is like part of the process that they didn't escape.
Or it's just a metaphor.
It's because it happens so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they all people die and then they're moving back home.
Yep.
And it's like, it feels like a dream sequence.
Yeah, it really doesn't. It works, and it's simultaneously like it doesn't give you closure, and it's like it kind of works because it doesn't do that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if we are to just assume that they are alive and that they are leaving, which definitely the show seems to indicate is the actual ending, with a little twist to it that we have to talk about.
Yeah.
But Amanda not alerting the fucking family to what is happening.
Because
or at least to throw another fucking halogen light at Dawes' head, his cute, handsome head.
That was Jovial Bob being like, no, I'm going to find a way to get her to say the same thing these other kids did. I'm just going to fucking end this shit so good.
Yo, it's like a metaphor.
It feels like he hadn't figured out how to do a twist yet.
Yeah. It's like, he wrote that and was like, this feels right. But then his brain was like, no, what? No. And then he just like sent it out. And it was like, wait, fuck, that kind of doesn't make sense. Whatever.
But I guess that's, it's why it works, because you're like, I mean, it
sticks with you.
Yeah. It's like, you don't,
there's something to debate.
You have to assume that they left and they're okay, but it's unsettling that she doesn't tell the family, this new family, like doesn't warn them off, even thinks she sees, like, it's like, did she just go right back into questioning herself mode again? When she thinks she sees, is that Mr. Dawes? No, it could. Or she's just like, fuck it, I don't care. Fuck this family. They can die for all I care.
mean,
and they're just like,
I guess she's still in the questioning herself mode, but I do appreciate that her immediate response is, let's just get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
How fucking dare get out?
Nope.
Y'all on your own. I'm out.
She learned Jovial Bob's lesson. Always run.
Always run.
Yep.
Yeah.
Always
Forget
run.
it. Yeah.
So
there's like a sad metaphor for that, though, isn't there? Because like the cycle is repeating just because like the one family who could do something and got out chose not to. They were just like, no, fuck it.
Yeah, well, not the whole family, just fucking Amanda.
Most of, well, they were still in the car. Yeah. Like she gets beat.
Yeah, they didn't even know.
Yeah, they didn't even know. She felt that compulsion to like look, but oh man. See, and then there's the idea that like, okay, well, if they are ghost zombie vampire people now because of that, what's implied with that line, does that mean that they're going out to a new town to like fuck that town up?
I don't think so. If anything, they would just go back home, quickly find out they can't be in the daylight and die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to die in the car when the sun pops out. They're going to crash. Story ends.
I think that they are fine and that the cycle is continuing.
Yeah.
And the point is that you trust your gut, always run.
You just got to get out of
I mean, it makes sense that Mr. Dawes like didn't die. He was still like standing up when they ran.
Yeah.
So if he didn't get hit, then he's just like,
he didn't get hit with the light.
Because they do describe the there's one part where at the amphitheater she's describing the people, she questions or she thinks that maybe they were coming out of their grave, but that they looked like they were being compelled as well. So they were like very zombie-ish.
Yeah.
And so Mr. Dawes is maybe just like, on a pattern, on repeat, like no matter what, like we just gotta bring more.
Yeah, I guess that's true. You don't actually see Dawes die, so.
Yeah, and they must have expected them to die because that family came that morning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they thought for sure, no, these. Wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense though, then, because they said this happens once a year.
Right.
Oh God! Now we start questioning.
Maybe they rushed it because that family got away. Maybe because the Bensons got away.
Well, yeah, but then how close was that family then to this town that they could come within hours to come check out
I don't know.
Maybe they took them a year to move back.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. Like, maybe it just took them, like, a few days.
Yeah. Maybe.
To, like, get their shit out of that house.
Even though I would have left, like, I would have left all my shit there. And that's what the family does in the show.
Yes.
In the show. Excellent segue.
So, yeah, the show. Let's definitely talk about that. Because there are a surprising amount of differences.
Oh, yeah.
I was shocked at how different it was.
Yeah.
I could not believe it.
I was glad, since I'd watched that first, that I was getting, like, this different experience.
Yeah, totally.
Because it's that different.
So yeah, the Welcome to Dead House Part 1 and 2 was released June 29th, 1997 on the second season of the Goosebumps TV show, well into Goosebumps Mania. Like, I would think that the first season came out like maybe a year after Goosebumps really took off.
I think you're right.
Yeah, this was still well into, like, people love Goosebumps. I mean, even now, like, we're still getting Goosebumps movies and stuff. So
I don't think that I think that Haunted Mask was such a huge hit.
Yes.
But it would not have been one if Goosebumps had not already been popular.
Yeah. The ground had already been, like, seeded for that to be a huge, like, runaway hit.
Yeah.
But yeah, Welcome to Dead House was basically a two-parter. If I remember correctly, it was aired one part right after the other as like a sort of made-for-TV type thing on the second season of the Goosebumps show. And yeah, it contains a bunch of differences between the book. So it starts off similarly with the family coming to Dark Falls.
It skips the first two chapters of the book, basically.
Yes. So,
like, it skips the coming to the house and checking it out.
Yeah.
It skips the having friends back home. It skips the PD running away and comes straight into they are moving in today.
Yep. Today's move-in day. I don't even think that they came out to check out the place. I think that they just came out and just immediately got it, which is funny because one of the main differences between the book and the show is that in the book, they inherited the house.
Yep.
And that's like why they came over. That's why it was such a big thing. In the show, they just got a really good deal.
Yeah.
Which is kind of wild because the house looks like absolute shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, I mean, it's a fixer-upper, okay, but, like, even still.
Daddy wanted to be a writer real bad.
Real bad. Like, that house was, well, I don't know what they're paying, but...
The whole town looks like shit. It just does not look like a place that you would want to live in.
Exactly.
That's, like, the impression I got from the book was that the house was old and needed work, but was still, like, a big house.
Yes.
And, like, impressive. And that the neighborhood also was cold and dark. Those two things were true. But still, like, a neighborhood where people lived.
Right.
The show, there are houses with boarded up windows.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
clearly no one lives here.
Yeah. No, it's very telegraphed, like, right when you see the neighborhood, that it's like, oh boy, this place. Also, I find it very funny that in order to get the town to look darker than, like, it would normally, they just stopped down exposure on the cameras.
Yeah.
And it was a kind of like a day for night type thing going on the entire time they're outside. And it's just like, okay, all right. We really couldn't figure out a way to get this stuff from the book to happen in the show, which is fine. It's fine. You know, you got to make compromises.
It's also so weird. Well, speaking of compromises, right? It's like, it's so weird that Jovial Bob gives them so many jump scares they could use for TV.
Yeah.
So many. But they ditch so many of them in favor of bizarre ones.
Yes.
Like Amanda going inside because she sees the kid in the window, as she did in the book. She sees someone in their home, and she goes upstairs. She goes in, but instead of going upstairs to, like, check out her room as she did in the book, naturally, Petey, who is a collie instead of a terrier, it should be noted, way bigger. So all these scenes where, like, Josh was, like, picking up Petey and, like, holding him back does not possible.
Yeah. No.
Cannot do that.
It's in the book. There's when the PD runs away in the very beginning, they get after him. It's described as the dog, the dad literally throwing the dog in the bag, which I think would have been a little bit more difficult with this dog in the show.
Yeah, this dog is definitely like a good medium-sized dog.
Yeah,
it's a TV dog.
Yes.
It is a Lassie type TV dog. But so Petey runs upstairs and their mom is like, Amanda, go get Petey, as if you live here. He can go where he wants, man. So she goes up, and inside of this dark room, completely dark, Mr. Dawes is just sitting there.
Yes.
Yup.
Yes.
Weirdo.
What the fuck, dude? He was just like, what was his excuse?
It was so restful that he just took a nap.
Yeah.
But the way that he wakes up from that nap is by creepily reaching out his hand to like touch Amanda, from
But
behind.
he doesn't. He just turns on the light.
Yeah, but
Also,
his
he's
hand goes to the light.
lying because that's who Amanda sees in the window. She sees him. So when he just looked at him and then he decided to sit for 30 seconds.
It's so weird.
And if I remember correctly, Amanda screams at the top of her fucking lungs.
Oh yeah,
because
her
it
family
scares the
runs up.
shit out of her. And Dawes is just like, what? To the point where it was weird because the whole family heard, like, in the context of the show, the whole family runs upstairs like, what happened? What's going on? And Mr. Dawes is just standing there like, what? What did I do?
I just like to take a little nap.
It's so weird. It's so strange. It's like it just doesn't make any sense.
Which you have so many jump scares to choose from, and to make up one that bad, and then oh god. Also, we should note that Dawes, not the same character as the book.
No.
No dimple anywhere.
Yes, he's not young, no dimple, handsome, sure.
I mean, he's an old guy, you know? He just looks like an old guy.
He's got like a Paul F. Tompkins,
He doesn't have a
but
cowboy
little
hat.
thicker.
Does he?
No,
I don't
he's got
think-
like a fedora.
Yeah, he's got like a weird, fedora type thing. But the other thing that I should mention real quick is that the house is also described in the book as a red brick house, like specifically brick.
Yeah.
And both the show, which the show totally understand, totally get why, hey, we just couldn't find this specific house that had like the specific room that's described in the book. The sunroom or whatever that was, like the place that Amanda really loved and really took to.
Yeah, her house is a shit show in,
Yeah,
the
it's
show. I mean, her room.
Oh, it looks
her
like
room.
trash.
Yeah.
But not only did the show not do that, but also the cover of the book just portrays the house as like a wooden, like a traditional wooden panel house.
Oh yeah.
Except it has like marble columns.
Yeah.
Yes.
What the
Yes.
hell is?
Well, that's just so common. Like especially like. Well, I was thinking of like all the like romance books, novels that I've read where they have like this generic dude. I have one where this dude was like older and he was like blind, missing an eye, and on the cover is this like hot Scotsman with like both eyes and long hair, and just didn't look like the dude on the front.
Hey, maybe he had a glass eye.
House.
That's this house.
this
house is the blind Scotsman of...
But yeah, so immediately we're treated to one of the weirdest additions
Oh my god.
to the TV show, the wreath.
The wreath.
Dude, what the fuck is the wreath?
Which we have to note is fucking hideous. It looks like absolute dog shit.
The dad specifically says that it's like, it looks awful. He hates
It's
it.
horrible.
And he actually, the whole family thought that wreath had been thrown away. But apparently the mom just put it into storage and forgot about it until now.
He made her put it in storage, and I think the kids didn't even know it existed.
They did not. And he said he thought he threw it away.
Yeah,
Oh,
there was a
okay,
line
okay.
about him throwing it away.
Oh,
You
okay.
are correct that he made her put it away, and he said that he thought he got rid of it.
Okay.
So, like, he lied to their mother.
Which, hey, this is better grounds for a fight than fucking crispy bacon. But, but the wreath is like, we'll get to it, but the wreath is one of the biggest, weirdest, also helps make sense of one of the biggest plot holes in the book. But in the show, it just comes off as like, what is that hideous goddamn thing
Yeah.
that she seems to love, but is just, what is that?
It looks like a thing that, like, your great aunt would have made after like one trip to Hobby Lobby. Like, she got really into crafting, read one Hallmark catalog or whatever, and was like, all right, let's go, and put some fucking feathers and
Dude,
some beads,
fucking hot
and
glue.
some leaves
Yes.
on some shit. It was like, now here you go, mom.
Now don't throw this away because this is a good luck charm.
Yes, like my great grandma would make all these, like, she would crochet and make these outfits for dolls, and they all became heirlooms. And we just passed them on, and they were creepy. So by the time I got them, I was throwing them away. That wreath is this, but like worse, because it's actually so disgustingly ugly that it's creepy.
It looks so appropriate for their absolute like
Shitty house.
den of squalor they live in. But like,
Oh,
it's
God.
like, and she puts it over their fucking mantle.
Yeah,
like,
she's
like,
fucking
Saved it for
proud
the
of.
perfect moment.
I'd be terrified of putting that in front of up on the mantle because that thing looks flammable as fuck.
Well, isn't it covered? Like, isn't it like in glass or
It is
something?
It is.
Oh, was it? Oh, I
Yeah.
thought. Oh, I
Yeah, it
didn't
was
see the-
framed.
Oh, okay, it
It's
was
like, yeah, it's
framed.
They framed
It's
a wreath.
framed.
They were fucking wreath. Oh my god! Someone at the prop department had a fucking great time making that goddamn hideous thing.
Dawes in the book is so cool, like cool as a cucumber. Like, oh, in the show, he is the least subtle person.
Holy
Yes.
shit, he's like sweating.
Petey comes out and starts barking. He's like, get this fucking dog away from me.
Yeah,
get this dog out of here.
It's not even like an acting thing. It's they specifically wanted a reaction out of that actor who plays Dawes, and they keep cutting back to his face. Like they'll cut to the dog, they'll cut to Petey like barking at Dawes, and then it'll cut to Dawes, and he'll be just like,
His eyes are bugging out. He's like,
"Get that dog away from me!"
and then they go down the living room and they put the wreath up, and the entire time Dawes is like sweating.
Yes.
It's like,
Yes.
it's
Sweating
the gif of
bullets.
Jordan Peele sweating like.
And it's just telegraphed so fucking badly. It's just like, oh, okay, I think I see what's going on here. Whereas in the book, it was just like, oh, huh. Everything else is basically kind of the same, except one of my favorite differences from the book is that every person in the town, I guess because they tried to get the town to be dark. They tried to get everything to look like not too sunny, but still it comes across as like, oh, they're out in the daytime. It's daytime out, the sun's out. So if you think about the way that the plot twists happened at the end, where the sun is bad for these people. I guess someone on the writing staff was like, there's kind of a plot hole here where if they're out in the daytime, why wouldn't they just burst into flames? I know. Let's give everybody hats.
Yeah.
Let's have everybody wear
person
hats.
is wearing a hat.
Every single person, all the kids, all the adults.
And all the kids are wearing, all the girls have like the Blossom hat on.
Yes.
Every
Yes.
single kid looks like a special episode of Blossom that's walked
So
on.
good. Oh man.
Also, it's like the same events as the show, as a book, but like with no downtime. All the events happen in very quick succession. So like they meet Ray, and then instantly the kids show up with the baseball bats,
Yes.
and they don't even waste any time pretending. Like they're immediately like, all right, time, let's go, gang. But instead of like resolving this problem with Dawes showing up, the sun comes out and they're like, we gotta go, guys, see you later. Like it just happens so fast. Like Ray's like, I used to live in your house, and then Karen shows up and she's like, I used to live in your house. It's like, oh, okay.
So, were there any other really big like differences? I do remember them recreating the cover of Stay Out of the Basement at a certain point.
I mean, like the parents are like
parents.
different.
Yes.
They come off as like your kind of standard, typical, stupid. What's going on? Also, when you like almost the first scene when you drive in, there's a sign on a fence that says chemicals.
Yes.
With like a board over
Closed.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
like closed. Yeah.
Which gives it away immediately.
Yeah,
It's
because
just like,
I want to say in the show later on, they're like, "Why didn't you tell us this town was a chemical town?" Or what? Doesn't he say that? I don't know. It's been a
He does.
yeah, and it's like there's a signs everywhere.
yeah,
Look.
which really solidifies like the idea that in the show, they just didn't do their due diligence. They didn't go out and research this place. They didn't look it up. They just didn't even think to drive out there to try the place on for a size.
Nope.
They just were like, fucking bite the bullet, go for it.
I mean, the dad says, like, in passing, like, now the town fell on hard times or whatever.
Yeah.
Which it's like, why would you move here, first of all, if you know that?
Yeah.
And then I think later he's like, I don't think we were really aware of just how bad things were in this town. Yeah, man. Like, literally look next door to you.
Also, I mean, everyone looks fucking dead.
Everyone
Yeah.
looks
They
dead.
visibly
Everybody.
look dead. They look sick.
They pass a guy in his garage and he looks like a fucking corpse.
Yes.
He looks like literally a zombie just hanging out in his garage. Also, Karen's parents are characters in this story now.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
That's right.
I
How
do.
could we
Yes, 100%. Yeah, that'll come into play later, along with the fucking
In one of the dumbest scenes.
incredible, so good, so incredible.
I guess there's a bigger plot surrounding, well, not a bigger plot, but they're trying to get is it Karen who's trying to get Amanda to get rid of this wreath?
Well,
now?
yeah, that comes later.
Okay.
Yeah, but up until like we're still like middle of the show. Like I do not. There's one specific. There's a reason I don't want to jump to that point right now is because there is also like the haunting stuff that happens in the show is put in way starker contrast because there is physical evidence now that there are things happening and the parents are still like must be a raccoon or something. I don't know.
Yeah, there's, I mean, at one point, an actual woman is in Amanda's room.
Yes.
Like screaming at her.
Yeah, like, get out, you have to get out.
Oh, that's right.
And then, instead of like, so in the book, one of the key things in Amanda's room is that her curtains continually blow or billow despite the fact that her window is closed, and they're like, well, there probably is a hole somewhere or it's like a drafty window or something. No, in the show there's just a giant fucking hole in Amanda's wall. Leading to God knows where.
Yeah, for real. Like that's how all of the zombie vampire like ghost children are getting in and how everybody is able to like fuck with her.
Yeah, her dad patches it up, and the next night the show literally shows a hand punched through the wall. And her dad's like, it must have been a raccoon.
So yeah, that's when the things really start to deviate toward the middle to end. Like once the haunting stuff is over with, and then once Petey runs off, that's when things are like, okay, what is going on now?
Yeah.
Because that's when a lot of the differences converge into what Rachel was talking about earlier, which is the wreath. So there is a whole, like everything basically happens very similarly. But then when the kids get back after getting harassed in the graveyard, if I remember correctly.
They're harassed by the other kids, and I don't remember exactly where. Like, the graveyard in the show is not in the center of town anymore. It's, like, in the fucking woods.
Yeah, it's in the woods.
And
like,
you gotta, like, climb over a fence to get in there. It's very weird. The locations in the show don't have a lot of clarity. Like, they're just in the woods a lot.
Yeah. And there's no amphitheater because
no, there's
how
not.
The fuck are they going to find that in real life?
So instead the ghosts just hang out.
Yeah, which is super fucking funny because it just looks like a bunch of LARPers, like, or like the zombie run, like a bunch of people doing that shit in the middle of the fucking woods.
So intermittently, a couple other characters. So Karen's mom comes over and like gives them muffins or some shit, and she looks like she walked out of the 1930s, and which is not weird,
and definitely stares at the heirloom, and like
so she is also unsubtle. Petey goes crazy on her. She looks at the heirloom like, oh my god, what is that? Karen comes over. She's like, Amanda, that heirloom, that's weird. I get a bad vibe from it.
That's no good.
That's no good. so like, they're in the graveyard looking for Petey, and they find the LARPers. The whole town is there. Their mayor is like fucking Mayor McCheese looking guy.
Yeah.
Like, with like a ribbon that says I'm the mayor.
Yes.
It's super ridiculous.
And they're all just talking about how hungry they are and how they can't eat yet because of reasons.
And there is a specific line where they're like, okay, no, you're going to go first. You're going to be able to feed first because you've gone without food the longest. And then you're going to go, like, they're trying to figure out the order in which they're going to suck the blood out of these kids.
Yes.
And the other thing that we should mention before they get back, because it's right around here that the kids freak out. Amanda and Josh run back home and then lock the doors and start barricading the windows and walls with cardboard boxes. But there is one major difference, and that is Petey. Petey is right now, he's just running off. We don't know where he goes. We don't know where he's at.
They do see him, and he does smell bad. But no one mentions that he's dead. No
one mentions that he's dead. No one's mentioned that, I don't think at this point, that they killed him or anything like that.
No,
but yes, there was the, he smells bad. So now we're at the dead house where the kids and the parents have barricaded themselves inside the dead house with all of these people banging on the windows with, what was her name? The other Karen?
Karen's parents.
Karen and Karen's parents.
And Karen.
And Karen's dad was there, right? Because he was like super like silent, not saying jack shit.
they like barricade themselves in. The kids run in. They're like, "Oh my god, the town is full of dead people." The parents are like, "What are you talking about?" Karen's parents come out and like, "Yep, it's true. The whole town's zombies."
We knew
it's because of that damn wreath. We think that they popped up with.
But they're like, the dad specifically says it was after the factory exploded. And that the town's zombies, and I guess they just neglected to mention this to them at any point until now. Like, they knew the whole time, but didn't mention the zombie thing. No big deal. We didn't think it would come up.
We thought you would find out eventually.
Well, they didn't expect anyone would bring in a fucking wreath looking like that. That was so ugly would wake the dead.
Yeah, the Karen and her mom are like, it's that wreath that's doing it. You just told us the zombies have been here since the factory exploded.
Oh, but they're usually fine. They're usually so even-tempered, and now they're all fucking...
It's just like the most contrived, obvious bullshit ploy.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. And the parents are like, yeah, let's destroy the wreath.
I mean, the dad was already looking for a fucking reason, any reason to destroy that goddamn thing. The mom took very, very little, like, it needed very little convincing to throw that shit in the fire. Oh man, I love as soon as she like is convinced and she's like, oh, this is bad, and throws it into the fire, they all start laughing. It's like, ha, stupid fuck, you idiot, dumbass. That was the only reason that we weren't attacking you in the first place. Which is revealed that apparently it really was a good luck wreath. It really was. That is the reason why none of them had attacked them at that point. Because they had a fucking good luck wreath. That, you know, the power of its hideousness was preventing them from getting their blood drained dry.
Like they were going to get them on day one, but because the wreath showed up, they were like, oh, come on!
Oh, fuck! No one told me they had a wreath! So, when the wreath is destroyed, they're basically backed into a corner. They're basically like pushed upstairs by the ensuing mob of zombos, which, by the way, they've been doing this specific effect throughout the show that I thought was very entertaining. There is a color correction technique where you basically do a mask on the picture, and then you can choose like specifically to desaturate or oversaturate or adjust. In the show, what they do is they draw the mask on them and then just arbitrarily desaturate their skin. Which it's so fucking funny because they just look like normal people with a little bit of zombie prosthetics on, and there are specific moments where they actually fade the normal look to like a more desaturated look, and it looks so fucking bad. And I need to mention that at the very end because something incredible happened. But so yeah, they're basically pushed upstairs. They're backed into the corner in I think it's Amanda's room. It's the kids against the wall, the window, the boarded up windows at the very back end of the attic or wherever they are, maybe Amanda's room. And the parents are taken by the zombies. And that's when they start to, say like, okay, you eat first and then you eat second. And then, so this is what we're going to do. No one jump in right now. They're having a fucking elongated argument about who's going to eat who when. And that's when the kids are like, wait, the sun's out. We can break these boards and let the light in, and it'll cook all the zombos. And so they immediately turn around. I think the mayor sees what they're up to, or is it the Dawes?
It's the girl.
Karen, you're right. Yeah,
right?
It's the girl. Yeah. And she's like, oh yeah. What does she say? She basically like begs for her life or something. Is like, I like you.
Oh yeah, that's right. She tries to kiss her ass.
She definitely is like, it doesn't hurt to die. We can be best friends.
Which it was a line from the book because I think it's Mr. Dawes, maybe, or is it Roy? What's that kid's name? Ray or Roy? I can't never remember.
Ray.
One of them tells Amanda like, it doesn't hurt to die.
Yeah, Ray. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, you're totally right. But then, Amanda calls her bullshit and is like, you already lied to me once. Fuck you. And then rips the thing down. And then they all just turn into a pile of clothes and dust. And it's great.
Can you imagine, though, if this was like the Amanda from the book and she would have been like, oh, yeah, maybe all this happening isn't just in my imagination. You're right.
Maybe this is all in my head. Maybe the blood being drained out of my neck is all in my head. That's true.
It's true. TV Amanda has no time for this.
Yeah.
She knows it's fucked up from day one.
Yep.
She's like, there's a guy in this room. There's a hole in my wall. There's a girl yelling at me. This place is fucking haunted.
So yeah, and then so what happens is the fucking greatest change from the book to the show.
Yeah, genuinely A for 10 points.
Incredible.
10 out of 10.
Fucking okay. They all of the people in the town have been turned into dust. Desaturated dust and clothes.
I would like to note that as they're leaving, Dawes is still alive. There are a few running around outside their house, and Dawes they're fleeing. They get in the car, and Dawes runs out. He goes, "Wait, I need you!
Oh, that's right.
Hungry!
I'm hungry!"
Incredible line delivery.
So good. So they pile into the car, and they drive out of Dark Falls. And as they're driving out, they're having a great time. Yeah, we did it. Everything's great.
They make a joke about stopping for lunch.
Yeah. And then who's on the side of the road? It's Petey.
And I was yelling at the TV,
Petey.
No, you don't. Don't you touch that goddamn dog. You stay away there. Yeah.
So they get Petey, they put him in the back of the car, and as they're driving off, suddenly Josh goes, "Oh, you stink." And then Petey, the color of his fur desaturates. He starts turning black and white. His eyes start glowing, and they all start screaming. Petey got him.
They're dead.
They're dead.
In the show, they're dead.
In the show, they all get mauled to death on the fucking
Petey
highway.
kills all of them, and then Petey kills Jovial Bob Stein.
Yeah.
Because in the closing segment, we have to, I think, probably for TV network standards, feel like you can't have the dog be a zombie. You're like, okay, all right. So they have this scene where R.L. Stein, it cuts back to him because he introduced the show. It cuts back to him, again, a man who in his life has never acted. And he's talking to Petey. He's saying, Petey, for a dog, you're a great actor. That was acting, right, Petey? Who then turns gray again. And R.L. Stein's like, well, I guess I'm fucking dead.
Goodbye.
Honestly, I remember the two kids turning around in their seat. It felt more like a comedy than any. They didn't really look horrified. It was just oh, surprise.
I was half expecting it to be oh, well, I guess we got a zombie dog.
No screaming, no nothing. They just turned and it was oh.
The best part about that ending is that dog, I love that dog. I love it. That dog is so cute and adorable. Mm-hmm. And he's just looking like he's having the time of his life in that car. He's got his trainer over just outside of the camera who's telling him to bark when he needs to. And he's getting treats all day. And he's just like, I'm the best boy. And then they desaturate him and give him evil eyes to try and trick you into thinking that he's not the best boy, but he's the best boy.
It's bad. It doesn't work.
It's so interesting because it's what the show, the show is a complete mess.
Yeah.
The narrative does not work at all. The Wreath thing is bizarre.
Fucking weird.
But the sequence where all the people in town are trying to bust in the windows is pretty cool. It's a pretty good zombie sequence.
Definitely playing up the zombie angle because,
definitely
the ghost stuff is really prominent. Definitely earlier on, especially with that zombie girl. What the fuck? Who was that? I
don't know.
I don't think it ever talks about her.
Nope.
She's never given any kind of it's just this girl who's most likely someone, one of the girls who died in that house from all that shit that happened and was fed on, and she fucking kicked the bucket. But in the book, at a certain point the zombies are floating. At a certain point, what you don't have any idea of what they are, but in the show it's no, they're zombies. No, it's 100% they're zombies. Let's not even fuck around. Like the prosthetics, the makeup, like everything is just screams zombie.
Absolutely. It's like if you could merge the TV show and the book and keep the part with the zombies trying to bust in, but then also keep the part where their skin melts off and their eyes come out.
Oh, dude.
It would be a perfect blend of this. And also if Petey got in the car and then did and then became a zombie at the end of the book.
In the book, Petey's also described when they find him, he looks like, I can't remember the exact wording, but he's like constantly looking down as if he's aware of his deadness and just
he's sad.
Doesn't want to,
you're right. Yeah, it's super fucking sad.
Yeah.
And I don't think I communicated that properly enough when I said that was one of the points where it was like, oh, this is way better than I remember. It's not because like, oh, hell yeah, they killed the fucking dog. It's because of the way that Jovial Bob, like the way that there's a logic to what the ghosts are doing. There's a logic to what the zombies are doing. There's a logic to why they did what they did and why some of the scares happened earlier. And so in that way, it plays as kind of a twist, but also the way that he writes Petey is very like tragic. It's sad.
Yeah.
And with Josh running after him, just being, and then Amanda having a line where it's like, oh no, Josh doesn't know that he's dead.
Yeah.
And it's really fucking sad. And so anyway, that's kind of where I was going with that one. But yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it's definitely like, Petey seems to know he's dead. He's definitely portrayed differently after being dead. Like, he's distant and doesn't seem to be, like, aware of where he is, you know, or who people are. It is very unsettling. It's an unsettling sequence. Versus now he's gray.
Yeah, exact same dog, but gray.
That's one. There's one difference in the show I liked where when they're in the cemetery and they're coming across what seems to be like, or what you would think of as like the town's authorities. You have like a mayor. I think there's a dude in a police or something like that. There is a police officer. Yes. Yeah, there's a dude in like a hazmat suit or something.
Yeah,
like
a random hazmat guy.
Anyone you would have think would probably been involved with this stupid factory being here and causing this issue is still the same people involved in trying to figure out who's going to get what, who's going to eat first, you know. It's got this like metaphor.
Yeah, like
that I like.
The authority figures are like, yeah, the ones who are kind of at the forefront of the horrors that are going on, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Jovial Bob has always said, absolute power corrupts absolutely. It's very But yeah, overall, I think the book is way better than the show.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Except the ending. The ending of the show is just so bad it's good. And I love seeing Petey. And FYI, I did double check. I know no one cares, but I double checked the dog at the beginning of the Goosebumps theme song, where you know the famous bark 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 in the Goosebumps song. That dog is not Petey. That dog is a different dog.
Yes,
I went back and I double checked. I was hoping that it was Petey, and that way we could have a running joke of it being Petey. It was Petey all along.
It was Petey all along.
Petey all the way down. But yeah, so what'd you guys think?
Of the show, or?
Yeah, the show compared to the book compared to the show.
Well, I mean, I thought I enjoyed the book a whole lot better. I mean, that's kind of so common that, you know, you would enjoy the book more.
Yeah.
But normally it's because you're kind of getting in the minds of the characters. But in this case, the plot was so different and it was just done better in the show. Or, sorry, in the book.
Yeah, the book is like 1,000 times better than the show by a wide margin. It's like, I mean, for one thing, it just has more time to have events make sense and like have things build to a conclusion. And then there's the fact that the show just goes completely off the rails in part 2, and like the wreath thing is so wild.
They couldn't use a cross. So
no, it had to be a wreath that looks like it's made of potpourri. They fucking poured a potpourri on hot glue.
It's just like, oh, that's it. We got it. So what's next for You Can't Scare Me? Well, episode 2 is going to be, wait for it, stay out of the basement. And with that, we are going to have before that, I got the segments confused. Before that, let's do a fun little exercise. Everyone ready?
Yeah.
Sure.
Alternate titles. Let's come up with alternate titles of Welcome to Dead House. And Rachel.
No.
No?
I'm not ready.
Okay, I'll go first then.
Okay.
I'm having Mario do everything first, so I'll do it. How about Everybody Sucks?
Okay. No, it's not scary.
Not scary? Oh, well.
Everybody's dead and they suck.
Everybody's dead and they suck.
I have one.
Okay.
But it works for the show, probably. And it would be Neighborhood of the Living Dead.
Ooh,
Hey,
I like that. That's
nice.
good. That's good.
That's nice. How about Believe the Puppy?
You're coming up with cute ones.
I know. Any story with the dog.
Petey was right.
Petey was right.
Dead dogs do bark?
That's really good. Dead
That's
dogs
pretty
do
good.
bark.
That's pretty good.
How about Attack of the Zombie Vampire Ghost People? Oh, no. How about There Goes the Neighborhood?
Ooh.
Oh, no. That would
really
make
good
a better
tagline.
That would make a better tagline. You're absolutely
That
right.
would be such a good tagline.
Oh, There Goes the Neighborhood.
Ooh.
Anyone got any others? That it?
I don't know.
Ghost Town.
Ghost Town.
Yay.
Ghost Town. Ooh, Ghost Town kind of works, doesn't it?
Wait, I think Ghost Town is actually a Goosebumps book. No, I'm sorry. Ghost Beach.
I think they called this Alan Wake for the video game version.
Oh yeah, wasn't that weird how it was like the town was like Dark Falls and in
Yep.
it's Bright Falls in Alan Wake.
Can I offer this?
What?
And that's that I have developed a 3 category scoring system for Goosebumps books.
Oh, have you?
Ooh.
Yes. The first category is relatability, aka the kids zone. And I think that like if we're talking about this book specifically, I think it's like a 9 out of 10 in relatability.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
If not a 10 out
New
of 10.
house stuff, moving stuff.
Absolutely relatable.
Fully. Point 2, Goosebumps, aka How Scary Was It? Again, I think this is a 9 out of 10. There's some genuinely cool shit in this story.
Real quick, while we're on this subject, I hate to be that guy, but
Yeah.
does anyone get goosebumps when they get scared?
No. No.
The title doesn't make sense.
Sometimes I have. I mean, those were like genuine terror moments.
Yeah, when you get creeped out. Okay,
Yeah.
totally. When that happens, but when you get scared, I don't know. I've gotten more goosebumps when I hear something really cool that like tickles my brain. But anyway, that's just me.
I get those goosebumps every time.
We do get those goosebumps every time.
Every time.
I need that hive.
And then, so I think this is a 9 on Goosebumps factor because there's some cool stuff in there. And then, third point, R.L. Stein-ness,
Jovial Bobness.
which I'm told how to score this. On the one hand, I want to give it a 5 because like this is the first one, and things could get more R.L. Stein
Oh, yeah.
or less. But then again, perhaps a better way of doing it is just to say there were 14 fake out scares in this story that were just horrible. So maybe it's a 14. It's a 5 parentheses 14. So we can adjust this.
You should just have a running tally of whichever book has the most like jump scares, which would probably be the book that has the most chapters in it.
Yes, true. So that might be unfairly biased against books that are longer.
Exactly. But yeah, with that, we're gonna close out our amazing You Can't Scare Me podcast. I'd like to thank Rachel and Mario for joining me on this wonderful journey, which we're gonna go through all of the mainline Goosebumps books. We're doing it.
Yep.
We're doing it. And for our last feature, we are going to try to predict the twist. We are going to use the title, cover, and tagline of the next book to predict what it is about. And who wants to try it?
What's the title of
I will say in a second.
Oh, okay. I have to look it up.
Wants to give it a whirl? I think
First?
Rachel.
Okay. Yeah. Well, what's the
Okay, ready? The title is Stay Out of the Basement. The tagline is Something's Waiting in the Dark, ... That is not an ellipses. That is 4 dots.
I have to look at the...
And the cover is probably the cover that I think of when I think of a Goosebumps book. The cover is a hand opening a basement door of a house. And their hand is completely covered. They're green and it's like viney. And they've got little plants and little leaves popping out of their hand. And their fingernails are all cracked and weird looking. What do you think it's about?
Hold on, let me...
Mario, what do you think it's about?
Wait.
Wait.
You're right. There's like vines. Oh man. Okay. Shit, I don't know. I think ooze has popped up out of the basement floor and has created a monster. And twist is you find out it's your grandma. It's your grandmommy. She's attacking you. I don't know.
Hey, it might be the case.
Here's the thing. That's a phenomenal guess, because absolutely that's at least 3 Goosebumps books.
Also, I'm pretty sure you just described the plot of Resident Evil 7.
Yay!
Like down to the last detail. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Well, it's funny you mention that because the book we just read, it's got it's like Resident Evil without all the muck, right? You know, it's like there's a big town accent that happened here. Everybody's dead.
Dude, you're actually right. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
that's
true.
That's actually very true. Mario.
Okay, well, now I have an unfair advantage because I remember Stay Out of the Basement well.
Oh, shit.
However, I'm going to do this as if I didn't know.
Yeah, just
as if
make shit up.
My adult self looking at this. Here we go. Somebody
Once told me.
has been growing that dank shit in the basement. And it's gained sentience.
Oh, you didn't think that it was someone who like tried to intravenously inject themselves with weed, and then they became weed?
Maybe there's your guess.
I am become weed.
Oh my god, that's the tagline. I have become
weed. Something's waiting in the dank.